released in the year 1993. The opening scene begins with Yuan Yan, a kung fu master who is leading a new student, Qin Bo, into the Shaolin Temple. On their way to the Shaolin Temple, Yuan tells the boy that as a monk, he must follow the rules and never kill or eat meat. He also instructs him to strictly adhere to the Shaolin Temple's rules and regulations. When they arrive at the temple, Jun Bao, another student, approaches Yuan. Yuan then introduces Jun Bao as Qin Bo's senior. He departs after instructing Jun Bao to teach Qin Bo on how to recite the Buddha book. Just then, Jun Bao, as is customary, refers to Qin Bo as a junior, but Qin Bo, being taller and older, orders that he be referred to as a senior. He claims that he will only refer to Jun Bao as a senior in front of others. In the following scene, Qin Bo notices a group of students practicing kung fu moves and summons Jun Bao to inspect it. Following this, Qin Bo claims that if given the opportunity, he would be better than them. But Jun Bao responds that they must first consult with the master. Soon after, a senior student approaches both of them and bullies them, claiming that as a senior, he has the right to hit them at any time. Enraged, the two boys rush to their master Yuan to express their displeasure, but find him meditating under the scorching sun. Seeing this, Jun Bao grabs a plant to cast some shadow on his master, but Yuan claims that everything has a life and that they should not harm nature's life for their own gain. Following this, the two young boys express their desire to learn kung fu in order to stay healthy and avoid bullies. Yuan agrees but advises them to learn kung fu only to help others. Later, the two approach the senior bully, wrap him in a cloth, and beat him up. As a result, they're both punished. Yuan yells at them for being disrespectful to him. He pretends to punish them in front of the headmaster, but also feeds them secretly. Following this, the kids are given the task of cleaning the Luohan Hall. While at work, the two practice kung fu using their broom. Time passes, and the two boys grow up together and become close friends. They both appear to be very dedicated to their kung fu practice. They practice breaking stone piles with their heads, standing on their heads, and performing iron palms. Meanwhile, they learn that their promotion examination will be held soon. On the day of the exam, the headmaster declares that only 4 of the best students will be promoted to the Da Moor Hall for further study of the best martial arts techniques. The fight between Qin Bo and another student, Xin Bo, kicks off the first round. Qin Bo easily defeats Xin Bo in the fight. However, Qin Bo is expelled due to his ferocious intent. As a result, Qin Bo insults the headmaster by yelling at him. Following this, the headmaster begins fighting Qin Bo in order to teach him a lesson. Jun Bao tries to stop the headmaster, but he is pushed away. During the fight, the headmaster is astounded to learn that Qin Bo is familiar with the Buddhist palms. He then instructs the remaining students to deploy the Luohan pole formation. As a result, all of the students band together to oppose the two of them. Despite this, the two of them are able to fight all of the students. A few moments later, Master Yuan appears. He breaks up the fight and allows his students to flee. The headmaster then accuses Yuan of defending his students. Later, the two of them apologize to their master. However, Yuan claims that he can no longer be their master. Before abandoning them, he claims that he has no concerns about Jun Bao, but Qin Bo has a competitive personality. As a result, he hands Qin Bo a book that will assist him in finding peace. Following this, they leave the Shaolin Temple. In the next scene, Jun Bao and Qin Bo are out and about on the streets. Soon they become hungry, so they decide to beg for food from random people, but everyone ignores them. A few moments later, some thugs start harassing an elderly man for money. The elderly man refuses because he's low on cash, but the goons are in no mood to listen to him. Soon, they beat him up and take the money forcefully. Just then, a lady named Miss Lee approaches the villains, cleverly steals the money, and returns it to the old man. When the villains catch wind of this, the leader orders his men to beat her up. A fight ensues, but surprisingly, Lee seems to have good martial arts skills. She takes down a few men at first, but is quickly outnumbered by the rest of the group. Jun Bao and Qin Bo notice this and decide to assist her. The duo showcases their astounding fighting skills and impresses the onlookers. However, when they notice the additional troops arriving, they flee from the place. Fortunately, they manage to evade the bad guys by changing their outfits. Following this, as the trio is walking through the busy streets, people suddenly start running. Turns out that the royal eunuch Liu Jin is passing by along with his guards. As the boys become curious, Li reveals that Liu Jin is a cruel leader who has killed numerous people. Later, the three of them go to a restaurant to eat. Li claims that pigeon roast is the tastiest dish available, but Junbao, who's a vegetarian, refuses to eat it. On the other hand, Qinbo is willing to try meat as he wants to adapt, as taught by his master. Just then, a lady named Xiu Lin starts playing an instrument graciously, and this attracts Junbao's attention. Meanwhile, Qinbo seems to be smitten by Miss Li and he can't stop staring at her. Soon, Liu Jin's sister arrives at the hotel with her boyfriend, Murong Bei. It turns out that Murong Bei is married to Xiu Lin and she has been searching for him for days. When Xiu Lin sees her husband with Liu Jin's sister, she becomes enraged. As a result, the two ladies begin to fight one another. After a long battle, Xiu Lin gains the upper hand, but she hesitates to hit her husband. Taking the opportunity, Murong Bei smashes her with a chair, and this forces Junbao to defend her. He then fights off some of the goons, and soon the four of them flee the place. Later, they arrive at a different restaurant and decide to spend the night there. Late at night, Junbao and Qinbo discover some rebels who have stolen 300 taels of gold from Liu Jin. The following day, Junbao and Qinbo devise a plan to make money. They announce to the people that anyone can punch them for 1 cent, and that if they yell in pain, they will return 3 cents. Following this, a man and his boys hand them more than 100 cents. They begin the beatings, but the two are unaffected. Just then, Liu's men approach the duo and demand tax money from the winnings. Junbao disagrees straight away, but after the main man threatens them, Qinbo gives them the money. He then makes a fool out of himself to impress the man, much to the disgust of Junbao. Seeing his fighting skills, the man suggests he go to the royal eunuch, where Liu Jin is hiring new recruits. Qinbo agrees to go, but Junbao declines. As a result, they become separated. After this, Junbao starts living in the restaurant with Miss Li, Xiu Lin, and some other rebels. A few days later, Liu's men show up at the restaurant to collect illegal tax. When Junbao refuses to pay the tax, Liu's men attack him. A fierce battle ensues, but Junbao's group is eventually able to defeat Liu's men. However, one of the men manages to flee towards the barracks in order to inform Liu. Junbao rushes after him on a horse, but he has no idea on how to ride one, causing him to slow down. Meanwhile, Qinbo, who has now become Liu's soldier, assists Junbao in killing the man. The two friends are overjoyed to see one another. They talk for a while, exchange information about their current lifestyles, and return. One day, a competition is held at the royal barracks, and the person with the best martial arts skills is chosen as the general. One guy consistently defeats the other soldiers and invites anyone to challenge him to a duel. Qinbo takes the opportunity and enters the fray. He easily defeats the man and also tackles everyone who appears in the challenge. Soon after, the contest concludes, but Qinbo learns that he's violated his rank and is no longer eligible to be a soldier. The next day, Qinbo rushes to the restaurant to inform them that Liu Jin has learned about the killings and has dispatched troops to apprehend them. As a result, they all flee the restaurant. However, the restaurant owner is apprehended and killed by Liu Jin. Later, Qinbo, Junbao, and their fellow members decide to assassinate Liu Jin. Qinbo claims that the majority of soldiers will be away for practice in a couple of days, and it will be the best time to carry out their plan. After 2 days, they gather more people and enter the barracks. They make it to Liu's headquarters, but the soldiers quickly surround them. It turns out that Qinbo has led everyone to a trap, as he is loyal to Liu. Soon, hundreds of soldiers launch an attack on them. They fight back as best as they can, but the soldiers kill them one by one. During the fight, Qinbo abducts Miss Li because he wants her to be his partner. After a long fight, Xiu Lin is taken as a hostage, but Junbao manages to escape with another rebel. Following this, Qinbo's performance impresses Liu Jin, who promotes him to the position of royal lieutenant. He then instructs Qinbo to persuade Junbao to work for them and to kill him if he refuses. Junbao, on the other hand, is dissatisfied and enraged with Qinbo. Inside the royal barracks, Qinbo approaches Miss Li and starts forcing himself on her. Just then, Liu Jin arrives and persuades him that a soldier shouldn't sacrifice his career for a woman. As a result, Qinbo immediately kills Miss Li. In the next scene, we're shown that Siu Lin is being held in Qinbo's custody. A few moments later, Junbao arrives at the place to rescue her. Qinbo tries to persuade Junbao to join the royal barrack and become wealthy, but he flatly refuses. He also claims that he doesn't recognize the person who betrayed his friend in exchange for money. As a result, the two engage in a head-on brawl. They're unable to harm each other because they both have the best martial arts skills. During the fight, Junbao manages to free Siu Lin but gets injured in the process. Despite this, the duo somehow manage to flee the barracks. Later, Siu Lin transports Junbao to a safe location and assists him in treating his wound. However, because of the infection from the wound, Junbao begins to act like a mental patient. Siu Lin cares for him for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in hopes that he will recover. On the other hand, Qinbo makes all of the soldiers practice kung fu. He makes them go through some grueling training and says that those who don't comply will be killed. Later, Qinbo approaches Liu Jin and hands him the massive amount of gold he captured from the rebels. Seeing this, Liu Jin becomes impressed and hence asks Qinbo to accompany him to the capital. One day, Junbao suddenly remembers his master Yuan's words, so he begins reading the book that Yuan had handed over for peace. With time, he also regains his health. In the book, he discovers that a swirling ball can spin away other objects that collide with it, but the ball itself remains stable and firm. He also understands that even in stillness, there are always movements. Nature gradually dawns on him, and he begins practicing the best martial arts skills and eventually masters them all. Elsewhere, Qinbo questions some villagers about Junbao's location and kills anyone who refuses to reveal it. When Junbao and Siu Lin discover this, they decide to take on Liu Jin and end his tyranny once and for all. In the next scene, Liu Jin is walking through the streets with his sister, who is accompanied by several soldiers. Just then, Junbao and Siu Lin appear out of nowhere and ambush Liu's group. Siu Lin engages in a head-to-head battle with Liu Jin, while Junbao faces off against Liu Jin's sister as well as the soldiers. The battle is fierce and some exceptional martial arts skills are on display, but at the end, the good guys prevail. Following this, the duo ties up Liu Jin and drags him into the barracks. When the soldiers try to rescue Liu Jin, the duo quickly points their swords at him, blackmailing the soldiers into staying away. Soon, they approach Qinbo, and after a bit of trash talk, Junbao once again starts tussling with him. The once best friends go hammer and tongs at each other, but Junbao, using his newfound skills, manages to subdue Qinbo. Just as he's about to be defeated, Qinbo orders the soldiers to attack Junbao. However, Liu Jin, who is still being held by Siu Lin, forbids them from moving. As a result, Qinbo slashes Liu Jin's throat and eliminates him. Witnessing this, the soldiers start calling Qinbo a betrayer and instead cheer for Junbao. With nowhere to go, Qinbo begs for mercy, but Junbao finishes him off, effectively ending everything. In the final scene, Junbao takes Qinbo's ashes to their master. The movie ends as he starts teaching Kung Fu to new disciples and becomes a Kung Fu. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.